Here we are, everybody. Welcome to the Pyramids of Egypt. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host of Live at 5, Raphael Leban. And it's our last show before Passover. We hope your Passover cleaning and preparations are going well. And you're getting ready for everything. It's a lot of work, that's for sure. And I hope you've gotten everything done you want done, and everything you need to do is scheduled. Still have a little bit of time. Still have tomorrow. And so I hope you'll figure it all out and get it done. If you have any questions, because of the fact that we're not quite done yet, and if something comes up, I'm just still getting last minute questions about the Seder and about everything, all the preparations, and there's a lot to know. You're welcome to shoot me a question. And once again, I want to recommend that there's a lot of wonderful information in the Kashrus Comments book here. This is an annual Passover publication that's put out by our local VOD, the Scroll K. And you can just go to scrollk.org. You'll see it right there, and you can download it. Very easy, and it's got great information. And I want to welcome to the studio here with me in Egypt, not my brother sitting over here just on the other side of the pyramids. And nice to have you in the studio today. If you're watching us on Facebook Live and you'd like to join us in the studio here on Zoom, Monday through Friday, you could do so at Zoom ID 694-348-057. Welcome to join us, and we're always happy to have everybody to join. We will be taking a break for the week of Passover, and we'll be picking up after that. So today we'll talk about a couple of Passover biggies. And then we'll get you ready to go. You'll have a great Passover vacation, and then we'll see you afterwards. By the way, I got to start with this quickie. Everybody's looking forward to asking and answering the 4 questions this year. The 4 questions, as every year. Have you gotten your vaccine yet? Which one did you get? What were your side effects? And when do you think you'll return to work? The 4 questions of the Seder this year, I'm sure every Seder will include. Make sure get the right answer to those. But thanks again for joining us here. We got camels on the show today. Look at that, camels. There's very, very special to welcome my brother and the camels. If you've never been to the pyramids of Cairo and seen this view, by the way, one of these days maybe you should do it. It's a quick jaunt from Jerusalem. You could get over to Cairo. I took a short plane over from the Tel Aviv airport to Cairo airport once way back in the day, and it was quite interesting. It was a very short flight, half an hour, takeoff, land, and thanks to a lot of wonderful international diplomacy that 25 years ago, you could make that flight. Today, you can pick up and fly from Tel Aviv to the United Arab Emirates. And, you can fly over Saudi Arabia. A lot of great things, going on in international diplomacy. Who knows, as the Seder says, maybe it's next year in Jerusalem. I made Seder plans for next year in Jerusalem. I already invited some people. We'll be in Jerusalem next year, and you can come to my Seder. I'll invite you. That's the way we have to think. So anyway, today I wanted to just talk about a couple of last thoughts before we get going. If you want to join us on Zoom, and you could ask, or if anyone on Zoom has a particularly relevant Passover question or Seder question, you're able to type that in, and we'll try to get it answered. But it is, after all, the night of questions, and the Seder is that event, that Jewish dinner party in the year when we're really trying to get our curiosity going and warm up the questions, not just for kids, but for adults too. We're trying to have a mindset of question, of interest. We're trying to find out, not find out necessarily lots and lots of intricate details about how, the Exodus and the plagues. The details add value to the story. But I think that the goal of being a curious person, particularly on Seder night, is to have a curiosity to understand the bigger picture, the context. Here we are celebrating Passover, looking back at the pyramids 3,333 years later. Why are we still thinking about that? Why is that still on our minds? What is the essential identity of the Jewish people that was founded then? It was instilled in us as a nation then, and it continues to resonate with us all of these millennia. What is that legacy that we have? And we have to be curious about that. We have to ask questions. It does actually say, the Seder says that, this is the matzah. The matzah is like the stage for the Seder. It's the stage, that's where the Seder takes place. Where? Over the matzah. We even say in the Haggadah, that you could start talking about these ideas even earlier in the month, except that you have to have matzah around. And tonight's the mitzvah to eat the matzah, and the story goes with the matzah. The matzah is the stage of the Seder, and we lift it up and we say, this is the bread of of affliction. It is that, but it's also, as we mentioned this week on the show, it's the bread of questions and answer. And sets the stage and the tone for the Seder, to think about the legacy that we have and where it came from and why we're stuck to it all these years later. Many beautiful things. I wanted to share an insight that I was just enjoying from this little Haggadah companion, which I got from my friend and colleague, Rabbi Levi Leibowitz. He's a local educator. He's really delightful. Magid Made Meaningful. Very cute name, Magid Made Meaningful. The word Magid is the name of the section of the Haggadah in which when we talk and tell the story. That's the Magid section. Magid from the word Haggadah. It's the telling the story section. And he has some really beautiful insights. It's a very short book, but very poignant. And what I got out of what he read really is that our ultimate goal about the Seder is to try to get a sense of the story of the Jewish people. This is our story. Now, not just because everybody needs a story, and let me tell you a story, right? Sit down, come here, let me tell you a story. It's not because we need a story, but we have to understand that our particular story is the essence. Why do we still, after so many millennia and years, how many Seders have we made over and over again? Why are we still, the Jewish people, carrying on as a nation? Because our story is as follows: that God has a plan for us. God has a plan for us. This is the story. It's not just the story of the good times or the bad times. It's the fact that all along the way, from bad to better, worse to bad to better, the entire journey is the story that God has a plan for us. And we have to be curious about that and connect to that idea very deeply. If we come away with one thing at the Seder, and there's probably a lot of things that one could say after that introduction. If there's the one thing you get out of the Seder, I could probably say that every day on Live at 5 and tell you something different. But today's message is, if there's one thing that you're going to get out of Seder, it's the sense that God has a plan. I don't always understand it. Sometimes I don't even enjoy it. You know what? Sometimes it's maror. Sometimes it's, it's a bread of affliction. But you know what? There's a plan here. There is a plan. If there wouldn't be a plan, the Jewish people wouldn't be here still. If it wouldn't be a plan, we would have never gotten out of Egypt. And also, frankly, if there wouldn't have been a plan, we wouldn't have ended up in Egypt in the first place. Part of the story that we read is that God told Abraham that his children would be enslaved in Egypt. Right? That's part of the story. He told them what was going to happen. It's part of the plan. Our job is to look at it and try to understand it. My wife likes to tell me that she has a Pinterest page where she collects little news articles and tidbits. It's called, the bystander of history, watching God's hand in history. As you watch the world unfold around you, your perspective is, you know what? I know there's a plan here. I don't understand why this is going on or that's going on. I don't get this news piece. I don't understand this world event. But I'm watching from the vantage point of, I know that there's a plan here, and I'm enjoying watching it unfold. Right? God's plan is unfolding for us. It unfolded back then. It continues to unfold. And that's the story. That's our story, the Jewish people's story. That's what we tell. And we try to, if we can check into some of the details in the narrative, the more the merrier and the better. Enrich the story. But recognize, I got to be curious, what is the story for us? What is God's plan for us? and we want to be curious and try to connect to it. That's really the story, and that's what magid means. It's to tell over. It's not really a good. I don't think it's good grammar. My English teacher was very upset with me. It's the verb to tell over. She used to say that's not a word, but that's what Haggadah is. That's what magid means. To tell the story again and again and again and again. It could be the same retelling, and you could be a different person, and you could have different curiosity and a different perspective this year than ever before. Every year you probably have a different perspective, but it's all deeply connected to the story and the same perspective on, I don't know what the plan is, but I know there's a plan. I see there's a plan. Plan to my life, plan to the world, plan to human history, to the history of the Jewish people. There's a plan. That's an important perspective. That's the most important perspective that you could possibly have from the Haggadah today. And if you watch some of the reruns of Live at 5 for the last 2 weeks, you'll get plenty more. A couple of important sort of administrative things that we need to talk about. There's a lot between now and the next time we see each other. There's lots and lots of things going on. There's holidays and semi-holidays and Shabboses and all kinds of things. I just want to run through it really quickly, and we'll get it really clear. And again, I want to keep reminding you, I love this little tool. If you go to scrollk.org and you'll download this, you'll see the whole calendar. It actually has a great calendar with lots of timing in it. And you could really see all the things that you've got coming up. Right in the beginning cover here, it talks about which days are the holidays and what time you should light the candles and when there's a Havdalah and all that. And it's complicated. Every year there's a different permutation. Sometimes it comes out like this year, where where Passover is started out on Saturday night. First Seder is Saturday night, which basically means we have a Shabbos in the way. So we're going to go from Shabbos right into Passover. And that's there's no space or time in between. It's one right into the other. And that means that most of our Passover preparations are going to have to get done before sundown tomorrow night. So that way that we can sort of rest on Shabbos, and we're all prepared so that as soon as Shabbos is over, we go right into Passover. And that's the way to do it. I'm getting my Mara ready. I got my matzah ready. I'm pretty much set up the Seder plate, put it in the fridge, and pull it out on Saturday night. Now, typically speaking, the search for chametz, the leavened bread that we do in the house, is done the night before the Seder. But since that's Friday night, tomorrow night, we back it up to tonight. And tonight after sundown is the time when you get to get out your candle and your feather and your wooden spoon, your traditional checking for chametz tools, your toolkit. Or today that just means, your cell phone flashlight and a long magnetic stick. So, take your whatever toolkit you have and you're looking around. Make sure you know where all chametz in your life is, and put it all in one place so that you can either wrap it up to be discarded, disposed of, finished. That's tonight. Tomorrow, if you're up for making a fire, we're gonna burn it. Even though in a normal year you'd be burning it and make it all completely gone, this year you have 24 hours furthermore after the fire you make tomorrow morning till Shabbos morning to eat the rest of your chametz. The final time that we're going to be done with chametz is 11 o'clock Shabbos morning. So by 11 a.m. Shabbos morning, you are finished eating chametz. Now, time to... what do you do with it at that point? Between 11 a.m. tomorrow, Saturday morning, Shabbos morning, and noon, you're going to have flushed everything you have. That's it. Just flush it. Just let it go. That's what Jews have been doing for thousands of years when Erev Pesach is on Shabbos. We flush it. And that's a joke, folks. Come on. We didn't have indoor plumbing, You think they had indoor plumbing back then? Indoor plumbing is only a couple of decades old, They didn't have indoor plumbing back then. But that's what we do now. And then Shabbos ends and the Seder can begin just after 8, a little after 8 o'clock Saturday night. So you one of the things that we should try to be careful about is that we do the Seder at the right time. And our first of our 4 cups is 8:05 technically p.m. Saturday night. Now, if you need to start earlier, so sit down at the table earlier and just talk and get ready and prepared. And by the time 8:05 rolls around, you could start drinking your 4 cups and doing your mitzvahs. That's the way to do it. It's 8:06 on Sunday night, which is your second Seder. Now, the first 2 days of Yom Tov then end Monday at sundown, and you have intermediary days from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We call that Chol HaMoed, which is the sort of the less holy of the holiday. Okay, Chol is a word which means mundane or regular. So that's your regular festival days. Okay, and they're in between, and those are days when if you have to, could be back at work. Better to take off if you can and do something pleasant and festive. But they're not technically Yom Tov days like Sunday and Monday are. And the Torah says at the end of the holiday of Passover, the 7th day is another holiday. So we get another Yom Tov that falls out this year, the end of it, on Shabbos day, which is April 3rd. That's going to be your Shabbos, and that is a first day of last day's Yom Tov, and that and the diaspora extends for us one more day. We get an extra day of matzah, and that will be Sunday. So that whole weekend is Yom Tov as well. And finally, Passover comes to a complete end. The last matzah you're going to eat is Sunday, and Sunday night at sundown on April 4th, that's when Passover is really over. For those of you who have sold your chametz, have made sure that it's that's the methodology you've chosen to rid yourself of chametz for the week, then the chametz will be repurchased for you, and you can resume eating it at some time, roughly 9:30, whatever it'll be, p.m. Sunday night, April 4th, after the holiday is over for a little bit, and your agent, the rabbi, has a chance to buy back your chametz for you, and then you can resume consuming it. But that's so you're holding off for a slice of pizza from Brooklyn Pizza until the evening of Sunday night, April 4th. I think they open at like 10 p.m., something like that, at Brooklyn Pizza that night, and they serve a lot of pizzas until something like 1 in the morning. So if you need your pizza, they will be closed from Friday this week. I happen to know Brooklyn Pizza is closed not open on Friday. Thursday night, last pizzas tonight, and then Friday closed, and all the way till Sunday night, April 4th. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, which we spoke about in the studio after the show yesterday, was that at your second Seder, Sunday night, April 28th, you're going to want to remember to start counting the Omer. The Omer is the 49-day count that we have a commandment to do right there in the Torah. It says the day after Passover, after that you're gonna start counting the days. 49 days, 7 complete weeks. That's 7 times 7, which according to my first grade math is 49. I remember my arithmetic, what do you call this? Multiplication tables. I forgot the name for it, but I remember the numbers. And you're gonna count, and then after that, of course, is the holiday of Shavuos. So if you want to make sure to get all 49 days counted, you need to start on time, so make sure to start on Sunday night. If you're not out and about with other people because of the pandemic, you may not get a reminder. So try to remember yourself, make a little note that Sunday night we start counting the Omer. Okay? It's going to be easy, just by the way, in a sense, it's going to be easy this year to remember which day of the Omer it's on, because the day is going to correspond to the Hebrew day of the week. So Sunday, you're going to count day 1. Now Sunday, in America, we kind of think of that as the end of the weekend, not the beginning of the week. But if you'd be in Israel, so for Jews, Sunday is day 1. In fact, the way we call Sunday in Hebrew is Yom Rishon, the first day of the week. And on Yom Rishon, that evening, you're going to count number 1. And on Yom Sheni, number 2, on the second day of the week, etc. And as you go through the 7 weeks, this year it'll be very easy, just in case you get a little fablunget. You know what fablunget means, Bob? That means you don't want to get fablunget in the counting the Omer. So you're going to remember that the number you're counting is always a multiple, 7 multiples of the day of the week that you're on. I don't know if that'll help you, but it's a good mnemonic device. And the other way to remember, of course, these days is to subscribe to text alerts to count the Omer. What better way do the Jews successfully count the Omer today besides getting a text alert every evening, and it tells you exactly what to count? It won't come on Shabbos or Yom Tov, But every other weekday, you could get a text. I use a service called myzmanim.com. I love that one. Great service for free Sphera alerts. myzmanim.com. You look it up. Zmanim, you'd spell is Zmanim. myzmanim.com. That's a great way to find out candlelighting times and relevant Jewish important times there of the day and of the week and of the month. You can always get a good Jewish calendar there, and you can know what the Parsha is, and you can look up what time candlelighting is, and they have a free subscription to Sphera alerts. So if you want to do that, take a good look at myzmanim.com, a very nice resource, and for free, freely offered. So these are all a bunch of things that that we need to remember and make sure to get ready with. And you have time. Again, you got time to do it. I'll tell you. Lastly, unless there are any questions in from the peanut gallery or from the walnut gallery, shall I say, in advance, the almond gallery in advance of Passover. If there are no questions, I always want to share the following. I was today looking into, some Seder insights and tidbits, things to add to my own Seder. Because, as many times as you've done it, you're always looking for something new, right? We want to consider how to know how to make the best Seder that you can. And no matter who you're with or whatever, whatever's going on this year for you at your Seder, you still want to try to get the most out of it that you can, because it's an opportunity. And you want to take advantage of that opportunity, as you should. So you want to put something new into it. Anyway, I was looking around, and I found a couple of things on actually the OU website. I think I had an email from them. The Orthodox Union and the OU were familiar with the little insignia for kosher, OU on the products. So it's a big organization, and they do some education as well. And there was some very nice videos made with prominent teachers around the planet, actually, some in America, some in Israel, and they were being interviewed. What do you do at your Seder? What's it like? What do you think's important? What do you try to get accomplished? Do you throw rubber frogs? Do you do all the talking? Do you invite others to participate? And there were all kinds of great little pieces of advice. But one piece of advice that I heard from almost everybody that spoke was prepare. Think about it in advance, Pull out that Haggadah, not just for the first time at the Seder night, but pull it out in advance and look at it and think about it and see what are some highlights that you'd really like to dwell on. That was one that preparation was one good point that was made. Another good point that was made was it should be a pleasant experience, Try not to let it get too tense. It's there's sometimes a Seder can devolve into tension, and this one wants to go long, and this one wants to go fast, and this one wants to eat the matzah now, and this one wants to hurry up and get to the chicken soup. Whatever it is, there's plenty of room for that. Try not to let it be that way. And this is a great life lesson anyway. Let's do our best to try to take it in stride. You know what I mean? We're just going to try to, whatever, we're going to let it wash over us, and it's going to be what it's going to be. Because no matter, and this was amazing, every one of these great educators who were interviewed said the same thing, which is, we all have our best intentions, but we all know that life is real, things go wrong, little kids get kvetchy, so do older kids, so do older adults, people get kvetchy, and things, it's never perfect. You know what? Take it in stride. That's going to happen. Just enjoy, put on a smile. It'll be all right. You'll get to your matzah. You'll eat your matzah. You'll do your mitzvahs, and it'll be good. So don't get stressed out. That's a big secret to the Seder. Don't be stressed out of the Seder. You know what I mean? And that was a biggie. It's always a good advice. I heard once that Rabbi Wasserman, my dear colleague, he shared with me the following, and he said, this was in advance of my son's wedding. He said, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you right now. There's going to be one guest at the wedding, okay? There's going to be one guest that is going to come in, and that they're going to be there, totally infuriate you, make everything absolutely wrong. And when they come, I want you to say to them, thank you for coming. You can go now. You can leave now. And you know who that is? That guest is the Yetzer Hara. The Satan, the Yetzer Hara will come to mess you up and to mess up. You have such great plans for this simcha in your life. The Yetzer Hara will come and try to steal it from you. And when that moment comes, you just say, thank you so much for coming. You're finished. You could go now. And you let it go and you recognize, there's going to be a Yetzer Hara at your Seder. There's going to be that moment and you can say, thank you for coming. I was expecting you. Thank you for coming. You could go now. We're done. We're finished with that. We're going to go on without you because we're not going to get thrown. We're not going to get tense. We're not going to get upset with each other. We're going to smile and it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. Jewish people, we've been at this a long time. We made a lot of Seders. We made all the mistakes. Everything that could possibly go wrong in a Seder has gone wrong in the 3,332 Seders before this one, right? So we're ready for this one and it'll be okay. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. The other thing is true is along those lines, and maybe it won't be the Seder you wanted it to be. Maybe you're still in lockdown. Maybe you're not feeling comfortable to be with your typical. Maybe your family's not joining you. That's not what you wanted. Nobody wants that. And this is not the Seder you bargained for or not the Seder you want. You know what? With the Jewish people, you're going to do it and you're going to hang on tight and you're going to make it and you're going to be fine. The Jewish people have been doing Seders under the worst possible circumstances. And I heard a story today. It was told by Rabbi, his name is Rabbi Elephant, actually. His last name is Elephant. He's a prominent rabbi in America. And he told the story. He was speaking to one of his neighbors who, and I think this might have been last year. I would think this might have been a recording from last year during the height of the pandemic. And this fellow who was telling him this story he was repeating from was a Holocaust survivor. And he said, you should know, I remember, I don't usually tell this story, but I'm going to share this story with you. 75 years ago, in 1944, I was at a Seder in Germany. Can you believe this? 1944. I'm sorry, it wasn't Germany, it was Hungary. It was a Seder in Hungary in 1944. And the rabbi that was leading the Seder was the Nitra Rav. There was a city of Nitra in Hungary. And that rabbi, there's still, that group still exists. There's a contingent of them in America still to this very day. And this was at the yeshiva, and the Nitra Rav was there with a group of his family and his yeshiva students, about 80 of them. It was such a terrified moment. They were afraid. Some of them weren't allowed to be in Hungary, and they were illegal. And they were afraid at any moment the Nazis were going to come in. There was a trap door under the Seder table that if the Nazis came in, that they should hide and escape. Can you imagine? We can hardly even imagine what the Seder was like under those circumstances. And sure enough, during that Seder, the Nazis did come in. They came in the middle of the Seder, and everyone was terrified. The story ended well. It was an unbelievable story. The Nazis looked at the dignified Nitra Rebbe, who was sitting at the end of the table with his family, with his students, and who was sitting there, and he wasn't even flustered by their arrival. And they went in, and they saw what was going on, and they said, you need to keep the windows closed because there's an air raid going on, and the lights need to be covered. And they left, and that was it. Talk about a Passover miracle. Amazing, We have survived through thick and thin. There have been Passover Seders under the worst of circumstances. This is not the best of circumstances, It's a crummy year for many people in terms of their Seder guest list. But you know what? We'll survive this too. We'll be okay. You got the pyramids. You see these pyramids back here? They've been standing up there a long time. And you know what? The Jewish people are standing up even longer. And we will survive this one. And we will, there are highlights and there are low moments. But the story of the Jewish people is that Hashem has a plan. And our job is to check into that and to get our best sense of what that plan is for us as a nation, for us as individuals, and to know that it's that the plan has a happy ending. It is a story with a happy ending. And if it's not, as I say, it'll be good in the end. If it's not good, it's not the end. I want to wish you all, everyone, a happy and a healthy. It's been great being with you together live at 5 for this last, almost 200 days since we started the show in last March. And now we'll be off the air from now till Monday, the 5th of April, after Passover is all over, and we will see you then. I want to wish you, as always, a healthy and a holy till we resume here at Live at 5.